Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Welcome to this episode of the 5G podcast.
We're going to call it the never-ending spoiler season of Magic the Gathering.
Spoiler season. There you go.
Yeah.
Should we just name that our episode? Spoilers.
Spoilers. It's welcome to Magic the Gathering. There's just constantly new product being shoved down your throat.
Of course.
We just had Murder's Mystery at Karlov Manor.
Murder on the Orient Express. Murder on the Watsy Express.
Could not let that one rest 1 week. Already, look, new stuff.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But before
all that,
we get to that, let us talk about your first impressions of the live-action Netflix adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
TV series. That's true. Yeah. We don't, because there was a live-action adaptation, but we don't talk about that one.
Oh yeah, the movie was pretty trash.
We just pretend that movie doesn't exist.
Let me give you my 2 cents on it first. I haven't seen any of it yet.
Yeah.
I love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yep.
Fantastic freaking show. The first time I saw the trailer for Avatar: The Last Airbender live-action Netflix adaptation, I was like, dude, this looks sick.
It looks pretty good.
I saw a TikTok of a guy like overlaying like the scenes that are taken from the ad for it or the preview for it and the actual show itself, and then like 1-to-1 copied terrain,
shot by shot.
Like, and obviously you're gonna have like character differences because you can't find a human being that looks like an animated character.
Yeah, no.
And so like but they tried their hardest, it looks like, to like find like people that matched like more or less the aesthetic of.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is gonna be sick. Like, there was the movie and everyone hated it, and so maybe Netflix was like, hey, we'll just do the opposite of that, and it'll be successful. Or oh, we saw that Paramount's Halo adaptation really sucked when they went all off the rails and just made their own story. So maybe we'll just stick to the real thing. And then I was super pumped because of that. And then I saw an interview that was saying the opposite of that. Yeah. And I was a little bit concerned. But
getting less.
So I'll probably give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure just like Halo, I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot. It's only 8 episodes, like an hour long.
Is it the entire series?
No, episodes? It's just the first book. So Water.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
That's a lot of.
That is still a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to.
And I heard they tried to cram a little bit extra in because if they want to do a season 2, presumably if they do well enough, which I think they might, season 2 has a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it does.
You would have to do half the season just in the Earth Kingdom, just in the city.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I'd also read a lot about it. So I was, what's the word? I was unsure going apprehensive. I haven't even finished the first episode, but I figured okay, I've heard a lot of people talking about it online. I should go at least watch a little bit, see for myself, give it a shot, like you said. And it's okay so far. It looks okay. The fighting choreography seems pretty solid so far. The first bending sequence was like in the dark, so that was kind of annoying. It was like dark.
Okay.
Which is weird, but I don't know. Dude, the fire bending, so they got lit up sometimes. But that seems okay. So far in episode 1, it's just like giant exposition dump. Which I don't know. I mean, I think 2 schools of thought on that is like, you got exposition dump so you can get to the story, or you can just like drip feed the exposition, spread throughout. They went they start literally with Aang 100 years ago, like living with the air nomads and the Fire Kingdom starting their attack or whatever. So but then the Fire everything changed. They took some creative liberties already, I can tell, where airbenders can just fly.
Oh.
So I think that kind of changes things a little bit.
They don't have to use their glider.
They don't have to use the glider. Aang was literally just flying, just with airbending. Kind of makes him look a little OP when the Fire Nation just like has foot soldiers coming to attack the air temple, and they're just like, I don't know, one monk knocks out like 30 Fire Nation soldiers. You're like, these firebenders kind of suck.
Yeah.
Even though they like used the power of the comet, I don't know, they didn't really look that devastating as firebenders. So, but somehow they killed all the airbenders. I don't know. They could fly, so they should all just be able to fly away and then airbend and kill them. I don't know. If anything, the show seems okay, but it's really actually making me wish for like almost like a TVMA avatar, because like the firebenders are just like, aha, fire. And that's great for an animated show, and it was a kid's show anyway, but now that it's live action, I'm like, no, you should melt that guy's face off. Like, he shouldn't just be like, oh no, I got hit by fire.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it could be a little more brutal to show the devastation of the Fire Nation, but they were just
For sure.
getting their butts kicked by air nomads, and then off screen they ended up winning somehow. I don't know. Right?
Enough to keep you watching?
I think so. You know, it's not terrible yet. I already know the exposition, so I'm like,
yeah,
it's fine. It doesn't bother me, but I can see if they're trying to get new people to the show.
Sure.
I don't know if they're trying to get new kids or if they're trying to get new adults, or if it's literally just for fans.
Yeah, I wish they would publish, and they will never do this.
No.
I wish they would publish their viewership statistics.
Right.
Because I think you can find that on YouTube for like your channel. And
yes. Yeah, you can, because they just link it to your account, what a demographic your account is, your age group.
Exactly. Yeah, interesting.
So
Interesting.
It's okay. I'm only one episode in, but it's probably worth a shot.
Yeah.
So far, so
I'll probably give it a try after I finish Blue Eye Samurai.
Blue Eye Samurai, yeah.
Which, great show.
Great show.
Great show.
Yeah, nothing will probably ever be like, nothing can take the place of the Avatar animated show. Like, just that one.
Yeah,
is already good.
I never watched Legend of Korra for that same reason.
Yeah.
Avatar was so good, and like I've heard Legend of Korra was good.
I heard it was fine,
but I just didn't want to. I didn't want a Avatar show.
Yeah.
Without the main characters.
Season 1 was fine. It was okay. You had to get used to new characters, but like the story was fine. It was all downhill from there, though.
Wasn't there like 4 or 5 seasons? Of
4.
That? Yeah.
Season 4 didn't even air on TV.
Oh, really?
Their ratings were plummeting every season.
Yeah.
Season 2, they retconned the introduction of bending in avatars, so they totally changed the story.
Oh.
Season 3, they were just like, everybody's an airbender now. That's cool. And then season 4, big controversy. They had the lesbian kiss. That's why they couldn't air on Netflix. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yep. Or sorry, not Netflix. Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. Kids TV network.
That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Yeah, and the story was just meh. Like, but well, I was gonna say one other point. Nah, I don't remember.
Man, I wish.
Legend of Korra, I don't believe, had the original writers. I think that's why some of the story started to fall downhill.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sure.
Yeah, and this one I heard just like last week from my little sister, and I corroborated it online afterwards. The original show creators were like working on the Netflix adaptation with Netflix's people, but they stepped away from the project partway through development. So
that's exactly what Netflix did with or was it Netflix with The Witcher?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When Henry Cavill was like, because first season of The Witcher, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Second season was actually pretty okay.
It was okay.
You know the stories.
Yeah, it was much slower, but
very much slower. But the end was good. Like it was enough where I was like, yeah, this is
it's fine. Yeah. Not as good as season 1, but it was
No,
all right.
definitely not. But it was good. But then apparently in season 3 and whatever they do from there on, he walked away from it.
Yeah,
right?
obviously. Yeah. He's done
Now gets to go work on Warhammer.
on the
Amazon.
Warhammer. Yeah,
I think isn't he like one of their creative directors for that as well?
he is.
As like, that's sick.
And it's not confirmed yet, but he's also going to be acting in it. Like,
Well, 100%.
Yeah,
like he's going to be in the Stardust Warrior 100%.
he could be the main character. That's
It's going to be sick.
so good. Yeah. So it's never a good sign when like
The original people are like, yeah, I don't think we want to be on this. Yeah. Because that's probably like their brainchild, their love, like they probably love the original Avatar because they created it and everyone loved,
Sure, they love the opportunity, like, oh, let's bring this to life.
Yeah.
Live action, capture a new audience. And
it would have been, I think would be cool, just, and this is just off the top of my brain, kind of what you said though, would be a animated MA version of like a continuation of the story. Like maybe not Legend of Korra where it's 80 years after or whatever, but maybe like you finish Avatar: The Last Airbender, a 10-year gap in their life, to now they're all like in their mid-30s or something like that. They all have maybe kids and things like that, and then adventures from there. Like that would be cool.
Little more violent, because thinking about it, like, the Firebender should just be melting people. Like,
100%.
The Airbenders, I mean, other than like flying or just like picking somebody up and then flying and then dropping them, you could just like suck the air out of a room
or
make them asphyxiate. The blood bending was like the one episode we got as kids. We were like, "Oh, a little scary."
Yeah, but
that'd be pretty cool.
It'd be pretty sick to see that in
Earthbenders who just like squish people. I mean,
dude, the earthbending could be brutal.
Could also suffocate you, but not from lack of air. Just
yeah, and the metal bending would be sick.
Oh yeah,
and Toph gets like that suit of armor.
Yes, right.
Yeah, no, and then like, can you imagine if they like redid the fight scene between Azula and Zuko?
Yeah,
at the end there, where they're just like going at each other,
just fire, like, because they're fighting in like an empty city, so they're just like, all right, just
blow the thing.
Just all the fire.
Yeah. No, I think
it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cool to see for sure.
Even a live action MA version, like Thrones type thing.
So I'm saying I'm not disliking the choreography so far of the bending fights. Like, all right, it's kind of cool. You got to see a little bit of earth bending, and then fire and air so far. So, like, all right. I have to imagine they at least they got some guys on, because it's different. Well, even when you're animating, you need like choreographers, but I think it's more important live action. You need choreographers to like do your fight scenes. So I have to imagine they pulled in some experts for that. So
yeah,
it looks okay. It looks presentable.
Very interesting. Anyway, now we can move on to the meat and potatoes, since we've already had the bread course.
That is, if you don't care about Magic the Gathering, you can
leave now.
Yeah, and apologies in advance to our editor, because we will probably be talking about many Magic cards today.
Yeah, yikes.
There was a lot.
We'll start with news.
We'll start with Magic news first.
Yeah.
Because this week was Magic Con in Chicago or whatever. So that's why there was a lot of news and a lot of cards this week. Just Wizards of the Coast just being like, look at us, Magic. So
fair enough.
That's why some of the news articles came out, and we got a lot of advanced knowledge on things and tons of spoilers. So first bit of news that was kind of interesting is that Wizards of the Coast is they've stopped coming later this year. They're stopping support in Portuguese and Chinese. They're stopping all
simplified.
No, Chinese simplified, right? Which I think was all they printed in before.
Yeah. Every article I read though had that in like parentheses. It's like, yeah, that's what everyone uses. Like,
no more Portuguese and Chinese localizations, which I thought was kind of interesting. China's a pretty big part of their market, and Brazil, I found out, has a decent Magic the Gathering scene. Actually, not like ginormous, but pretty good. We've had professionals, like people win Pro Tours, World Championships come from Brazil. Like,
Yeah.
it's a worldwide game, and they're just cutting all Portuguese.
Well, and Portugal as well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're a decent market.
So one of the arguments I saw was like, oh, well, like, the players who know Portuguese, they'll just buy English. Boop-a-doo. Wizards of the Coast said, oh, well, English product still sells well in Brazil or whatever. And I'd read online. It's kind of the cool thing about Reddit is you get people from all over the world at least.
Yeah.
And it's like, at least their local perspectives of like, the reason we buy in English is because like the shipping, the distributors like just don't get the Portuguese to us until months down the line. It's like when a set releases, English is what comes first.
Yeah.
And it's like on release date they have it, but the Portuguese stuff doesn't come till later. So
it's a supply chain thing.
Yeah.
It's not we just like the English cards more, or it doesn't matter. It's supply.
Yeah. And a lot of like new players would end up just getting Portuguese. I mean, because it's easy to learn the game. That's their language, native language. Yeah.
It's hard enough to learn the game in your native language.
Yeah, right.
Like, you have to remember what all these stupid keywords mean.
And then you'd have to translate it to English. Yeah, no, it's like double translation because you've got the game language and then an actual language.
Yeah. So. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's whichever one it was, but with Modern Horizons 3, which is in summer, I believe Portuguese is canceled, and then Bloomborough, which is the standard set in the fall, that's Chinese, is canceled from then on. So
yeah, and Russian has been canceled.
Russian was canceled a year or two ago. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that leaves them like English and Japanese and Spanish.
There was another one.
I think German.
Yeah.
I think they're just cutting costs where they can.
It's so interesting though. This is an interesting experiment that they're doing, because I wonder if their market isn't going to grow in these countries anymore.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it shrinks.
Yeah.
Over the short to medium term.
Mm-hmm. If it just stays the same, then that could be seen as a profit because they're not paying translators and whatnot.
Yeah. And they don't have to run different printing apparatus.
Yeah, that's true.
You can just
production costs. Yeah.
Production costs go down. But I'm gonna be honest. What is the difference in production costs besides I drag this PDF over instead of this PDF?
It's really not that hard.
Like, it can't be that much more difficult, right?
Like, a decent team of translators, sure, but not that much.
I mean, I feel like you have to have like 3 people on the translation team.
Yeah, if you want it done quick, I don't know, maybe 20. But then they only have to do it once, and like you said, then they give you the PDF, and then you just
and also, like, if you're making these new decks, right? How many new cards are there? Like, max 40?
Yeah, well, so a new standard set has roughly 300. But that's only once a quarter is a standard set.
I mean, so 300 cards. Let's say there's 600 new cards a year. That's probably maybe an exaggeration, but
there's supposed to be 4 standard sets, so maybe like 1,000 should probably be a better.
There's 4 standard sets a year, and it has 300 new cards, like brand new, not just reprints.
They might be a little bit lower now, like 250, since they've changed to play boosters.
Okay, so let's say 1,500 cards.
Okay,
right, 1,500 new
cards. Because there's also
a
modern set in there. Yeah,
1,500 new cards a year that need to be translated.
Yeah,
more or less, right? How long does it take someone, so for you or me, right, who have never tried to translate a Magic card with the rules, effects, and stuff like that into Spanish or Portuguese?
But we're both fairly bilingual, even though we're not experts at translating.
Exactly, right? And how long would it take you, do you think, if you sat down with this purpose in mind, to translate one card?
One card?
If you already knew the keywords for haste, vigilance, trample, all that stuff.
On an average card, including my time to like double check my work, 10 minutes, if that.
I was going to say 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So 15 minutes.
Just to double check, maybe see the local thing, is the culture, does this phrase not make sense? Whatever, that's Google searches.
Yeah.
Like, easy.
So 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing 4 to 6 cards an hour.
Mm-hmm. For one person, like
one person,
1 man hour.
There are 2,040 work hours in a year. Maybe it's 2,080.
2,080, I think.
2,080?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds right.
I always get it wrong. But I always do either 2,040 or 2,080. So 2,080 work hours in a year. So theoretically, if you work a full-time job as a translator, one person, if you're doing 4 per hour, can do roughly 4,250 cards a year.
Yeah, easy.
And what did we determine? There's 2,000 maybe on the high end new cards a year.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no excuse. I don't think they're cutting any costs.
Okay, so if you pay that guy stupid well, pay him $100K a year to be a translator.
So he never leaves, yeah.
So that they never change jobs. He's going to be workless half the year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be putting in 20-hour work weeks.
He'll be pretty content.
I would be.
Yeah.
If I get to sit down and just and there's like a lot of these cards are, each creature you control gets a 1/1 counter on it when this creature.
A lot of it's repeats.
1/1 counters. Like that takes you 4 seconds.
This one just has 2 keywords.
No campo da batalha, dá +1/+1 counter. I don't know what do they translate counter as. Contado?
Yeah, I think I've seen that on a Spanish one.
I've never seen a Portuguese or Spanish card that has a 1/1 counter.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But like, if this is your job, like, and you have access to the entire database of Magic, so that you can just copy paste.
Yeah, exactly.
Wording that works. Like.
Yeah, with the game rules. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And then maybe you need some sort of oversight, and you need somebody to double check that the translation works. As far as the game rules.
Yeah. But like,
so you have a boss, you send it to him, he approves. He can approve faster than you can do it. So really he's probably only working 10-hour weeks or something like
that.
Yeah.
If you're a level 3 judge that is also fluent or whatever, and you're the one approving, you read the card and you go, yeah, that works.
That's fine.
Enter.
You do it in your spare time. Yeah, so it really doesn't make any sense. There was probably just tons of bloat at these localization departments or whatever. Maybe that's why they just shut it down. But or even if they have their localization teams translate literally everything,
have an AI do it.
You do the cards, you do all the ads, all of the promotional material.
How much of that is? I mean, just throw it in a Google Translate.
Google Translate, yeah. These days,
throw it in. Like Google Translate is pretty dang okay.
These days, it's really interesting with AI. It was like a good translator is still a well sought after job, but like Google Translate's getting pretty good. We're kind of breaking the language barrier.
Oh, 100%.
In 100-something years, like I think it'll be pretty cool to see the change. Like,
well, I think in 100-something years, language won't be a thing. Language barriers won't be a thing.
Yeah, language barriers.
Just because everyone's going to have their freaking Neuralink chip plugged into their brain.
Yeah, you'll just understand whatever native language, and they can speak whatever.
Which will be interesting. Ooh, that's an interesting thought experiment. Because like, if everyone can understand everyone, as long as it's real language. Yeah. What happens like when you're like raising a child? Like, what language do you speak to them?
Oh, that is kind of interesting. Yeah, how do you teach them before they get the Neuralink chip or whatever? Yeah.
Because your best friend or like your family friend, like you and your best buddy, like I could have a good friend who's Russian and never know that he speaks Russian.
Yeah, you would be understood as English to you. Yeah.
Exactly. But then I would introduce him to my child who's maybe 5 or 6 and can speak English. But they can't understand a single thing that they're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. That's kind of neat.
Until they get their own little neurochip link, which, first of all, I'm never getting that.
No, that's 100 years. That's after our lifetime. So that's...
Yeah. If I'm not dead in 100 years, I will be dead.
They'll give you the Neuralink to keep you alive.
Yikes. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Anyway,
language barrier. So
don't have to deal with that.
We just have to deal with Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up was with this, them changing their languages and whatnot, was the article that one of the articles that I read about it was saying, like, is this like the signals of a dying company where instead of expansion they're contracting because they had a bunch of layoffs?
Yep.
Which was stupid.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
They, have had these contractions in product.
We can tell they're
cost cutting.
Their market, like their economy's on the decline.
Maybe they're either clairvoyant in terms of recession indicators. Maybe they're like, oh, we think there's going to be a massive recession and that we're not going to be able to sell jack.
So they're trying to consolidate a little bit.
Consolidate, maybe. Maybe they're clairvoyant, premonition.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're feeling effects of an economy, because I don't understand. The article also said that Wizards of the Coast was like, inflation. It's like, you print paper.
Yeah.
Like, you print paper and you sell each piece of paper for oodles more than you pay for it. You
can literally reprint $100 cards for nothing, but you don't.
And if you sold them.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think this would be interesting, is if there was a company, if Wizards of the Coast decided they just needed like a little bit more cash flow, and so set up like a shell corporation that just, oh, look, I have 1,000 of these $200 cards.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. And it has like 70 different examples of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where there's, all of like, not the reserve list cards, but cards that are like, and just like, not enough of them to like change the price considerably,
but enough to make a profit.
But enough to like just like make extra cash for free
without changing the supply and demand too much.
Just, like throw them into the different markets.
Yeah, yeah. You just drip it in a little bit here and there.
Sell a couple on Card Kingdom, sell a couple on TCG Player, sell a couple here.
Because you're right. That is the thing Wizards of the Coast, I'm sure, maybe regrets or whatever, is that they don't have any control over the secondary market. Wizards of the Coast sells products.
Yeah.
But then singles, individual cards, that's all the secondary market. That's game stores and whatnot, online retailers. So if they just, like you said, just had a shell corporation, which already sounds illegal when you're saying it, but I don't see...
It wouldn't be illegal at all.
I don't see why not.
No.
But I think it would only be...
The Wizards of the Coast would sell this product to a distributor that they own.
Yeah, so would the distributor... Like, would they just sell the same, just the booster packs, or would they just, like, give them individual cards that are pricey? Because otherwise the distributor might just have a bunch of bulk if they just had to open up millions of packs.
Wizards of the Coast could sell a distributor special pack.
Distributor special pack. There you go. Yeah.
And they would have to open these packs, and it looks like these packs just have all of the $100,000.
And there's no MSRP in the distributor packs, so maybe you just open, thousands of dollars worth of cards in your pack, and
it's a distributor special.
It's a distributor
we love this distributor so much. We're trying to help them get on their feet.
Because I would think legally you have to they have to be pretty transparent about their rates of rarities, and so it's like a fair, not gambling, but a fair gambling opportunity for everyone who buys a booster pack. I do know legally they have to be upfront about that.
But these aren't booster packs.
Yeah, they're specials. Oh, okay, yeah.
No one is going to open. No one is going to get these.
I'm surprised. Why have they not done that?
Because if people found out, everyone would be pissed.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it would be a great way to get an extra little bit of cash.
Yeah, for a short term.
And also, if you were a Wizards of the Coast employee and you were like, hey, there's just like, you're like sitting in the print room or whatever, and there's just like a couple extra copies of like
a Jeweled Lotus or
like a $250 card or whatever.
Fetch lands.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna take a stack of 50 of these.
I'll just take some Fetch lands.
Because surely they have
Ancient Tomb. That's a popular one.
Whatever. Even like, that's just like a little extra Christmas bonus there.
Yeah,
in my pocket.
One for me, one for my kids, one for each of my commander decks, and
there you go.
Yeah,
off to the races. Like
there's got to be, yeah. Or at the very least, if they got some sort of inside knowledge, they could do some insider trading with the secondary market.
100%. No, and good thing I'm not a Wizard of the Coast employee. But if I were a Wizard of the Coast employee and I knew that although
If you know a reprint is coming up,
you can't short the market though. That's the thing.
Not technically.
There's not an ability to short the market.
The only thing you could do is if you know a reprint is coming up of a card, you can sell off everything.
Surely that Wizards of the Coast has a playtest team that knows that, okay, this card will interact with this one random rare, this new card.
Yeah.
And that one random rare is going to be like the thing for Modern, or the thing for Standard, or the thing for Commander.
Yeah.
Right? And the price is going to go up a significant amount.
Mm-hmm.
You just buy as many copies of that one card as you can find.
Yep.
And then sell them a year later for 3 times the profit.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding? I'm sure that happens.
I'm sure. Yeah, so I have to wonder how close they keep things to their chest, like in the individual departments of like, okay, we can't let this spread.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
At the very least, any employee could just like tell their friend who's a distributor or a store, a secondhand market, and they could buy things. And
yeah, and what's funny is that even though it's effectively insider trading, not legally insider trading, because it's a trading card game.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not regulated by the SEC.
By the SEC whatsoever.
Or the SEC.
Even though it's a millions of dollars industry.
Yeah.
Probably close to billions.
So
I'd say.
We'll get to the cards here in a sec. I wanted to... Well, no. We can talk about that later.
Okay. The other news, interesting bit of news, 2 Universes Beyond set every year confirmed.
Wow.
That is codified into law now.
From now on.
Yep.
So we're getting
Fallout
and Assassin's Creed this year.
Yep. And then they've already spoiled beginning of next year's Final Fantasy. We know for a fact. And we don't know what comes after that. But forget if we mentioned last week.
They had 3 this year, though.
Did they?
Or past year, sorry, in 2020.
They had Doctor Who and
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings was a full set. You're right.
And then didn't they
That
have...
was it? Warhammer was 2022.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So starting with Assassin's Creed and then going forward, every Universes Beyond set is also going to have Beyond boosters. So they might also have Commander decks, but they're going to have, of the 2 Universes Beyond sets every year, they're going to have boosters, Beyond boosters, with each set. And then maybe Collector boosters and maybe Commander decks. But Assassin's Creed is going to be like, I don't know if they're doing Commander precons, but they're going to sell Beyond boosters. That's their first time, and it's going to be like 100-something cards in the set. And each booster is like 7 cards or whatever. Woo.
I guess we can start getting into this now. Assassin's Creed seems like a good crossover.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like they already have the assassin type.
Yeah, it is a creature type in Magic. Like,
they already have clerics, which is kind of the opposite of the assassins in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. The Templars.
Yeah, the cleric, whatever.
A cleric makes sense for that. Or they don't have paladins anymore, actually. They changed them all to knights in Magic. But
maybe they could have knights and clerics.
But Assassin's Creed travels through history now. It's not just like Italian era. So
yeah, no, for sure.
I think it's a good crossover because it is kind of cool. The one weird thing, though, and this is also tied to their cowboy set.
Horsemanship Coming?
No, actually, I'll get to that point later. But the weirdest thing about the Assassin's Creed stuff is the real characters, like real life people on cards. It's a little weird. It feels like a different game almost. Like one of the ones they spoiled is literally Leonardo da Vinci, and it's not like an altar of like, oh, Leonardo da Vinci, but underneath is like, this is actually the name of the Magic card. No, Leonardo da Vinci is a Magic card now.
Yeah, that feels strange.
It is a little weird. The other one they did was Cleopatra.
Was she real though?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love that.
Right. It was already kind of weird with like some of the crossovers of like, I played Gandalf in my Magic the Gathering, but yeah, it was fantasy. It's fine.
Fantasy, yeah.
I play Rick from The Walking Dead. That's a little weird, but Leonardo da Vinci?
Yeah.
What's it going to come to when it's like, I play President Trump? We get like real life people, like in modern day.
Would kill for a set that was all of the presidents.
the ex-presidents. That's what they'd call the set. That'd be so hardcore.
Just 40. He's 46.
46.
President Trump is Biden 45 or 46?
I think he's 45.
I think he's 45.
Yeah, we know American history well.
I don't know. Pay attention. Are you kidding me? Rigged anyway.
Just 45 cards.
Just 40. Yeah, exactly. 45 cards. Maybe like some other throw like a Benjamin Franklin in there.
Oh yeah, throw some founding fathers.
Yeah, people who weren't. And maybe
make it an even 50.
like a McCarthy or something like that.
Oh sure, some other prominent.
Make it like an even.
Just do America the Gathering. Is the name of the set.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty rad.
That would be sick.
I would love that actually. Oops, sorry.
That would be super cool. And just you could make some of the lesser known presidents the commons. Right.
You guys aren't even legendary.
Or maybe uncommon, right?
Yeah, uncommon.
And then make the rares and legendaries.
The precons of
mythic rares
that's right.
George Washington or whatever.
George Washington.
Dude, that'd be sick.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln would have to have a Teferi's protection type effect, right? And
so
you have
good.
to make them
dude, the flavor would be through the roof.
Oh my gosh, you could give President Trump riot.
They have these keywords.
That would be so funny.
George Washington is horsemanship, obviously.
Oh, of course, horsemanship, and
he's a general.
You have to give him eminence.
Eminence. Yeah.
Of some sort.
Not going to name any names, but coward is a legal creature type in Magic the Gathering.
Is it?
You can throw that on a couple presidents.
True. True. See what other
oh man,
you could do. I don't know.
Never.
And it would be really funny to get some of the old political cartoons from the 20s, 30s, and 40s or whatever, and make that part of the art.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
where they just depicted some of the presidents of their day fat.
You could make President Hoover a wall for the Hoover Dam.
The Hoover Dam.
He is defender.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic. You could do some mean stuff too, if JFK takes damage from exactly one creature or whatever.
If JFK enters your battlefield, you can search your library for Lyndon B. Johnson.
Oh man!
Put him onto the battlefield, tap and attack.
Yeah, you're gonna need one of those. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can do some mean stuff. President Trump build the wall tokens.
Oh, that would be so funny.
Something I don't know, George Bush nuke the opponent or something. I don't know.
Yeah. If you control George H.W. Bush and 3 Abrams tanks.
If your opponent is the Middle East. Oh man. I think they'd barely get away with an America the Gathering set. I don't think they would ever do terrorist card.
No, but it would be super funny to do flavor text like that, where it's if you control President tap and sack a creature to airstrike another creature for an Obama card or something like that.
Right.
Or dude, what would the Clinton one be?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that'd be I don't know if there's any female creatures on the art. You steal them or something. Tap Clinton and take control of that one and that one. Yeah.
No, you know what it'd be? It'd be you have to roll a dice. You every time.
He'd be dice rolling.
When President Bill Clinton is declared as an attacker, you roll a d20, and on 1 through 10, you have to, impeach this creature, which is exile, right?
Sure, yeah, impeach it.
On 11 through 20, it gains double strike or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Jimmy Carter obviously works with food tokens. That's an easy one.
Yeah, of course.
He's a peanut farmer from Georgia.
Of course.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Reagan destroys communism.
Destroys communism. Destroys walls too. Actually, yeah. He'd be anti-wall tribal.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
When Reagan enters the battlefield, destroy target wall.
Destroy all walls.
Destroy all creatures with defender.
Yeah. Take them all down. Tear down this wall.
That's the ability name is called Tear Down This Wall.
Yeah.
That would be so fantastic.
That's funny. I'm laughing just thinking about this.
Dude, I think we should make this. We should just pitch this to Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, just make our own
Americans,
custom set.
suck, so they can't be mad at it. Right?
Yeah. I think if we,
you can't do this about like Africa or Europe.
This is what humor is. You poke fun at everyone because humor is funny,
dude.
So we could poke fun at literally every president or historical figures.
Dude, it would be so great. It would be so great.
Nixon, we do something about Watergate. I mean, corruption, like everything.
You know what you have to do is you have to do him with morph creatures.
Oh yeah, so you don't know what it is. Yeah, they're hidden.
But if you it allows you to put creatures on the battlefield. But every turn, an opponent gets to like choose a creature card
to flip over,
flip up without and it loses all ability.
It's an investigation.
Yeah, that would be funny. Dude, we should literally pitch this to.
I like it.
Where are your contacts in WotC? Like,
if they haven't reached out to us by now, maybe someday. Because I mean, that's worth money.
And like, you could make a real. How many that would sell?
And they'd be collectibles.
Yeah, for sure.
People love American history.
I would buy a set and put it in a frame.
Yes, exactly. 1 to 45. Like,
I legit would. That would
that'd be good.
It'd be so good. Oh man, they should do that.
Yeah, I'm mesmerized thinking about that.
All right, well,
Benjamin Franklin, man, he's just all about the treasure tokens.
I was just going to say, like,
just making money.
Treasure tokens. He makes like 3 treasure tokens per turn.
Yeah. And then the treasure token cards are obviously just $100 bills.
Of course.
That's easy.
And he, like, you know what? You could make him, like, a tap and pay 5 mana, and all your treasure tokens turn into 1/1 creatures.
That's right.
Like that, right?
Something. There's plenty of generals were presidents. You can do the Ulysses and the Ike are just like all combat focused. Like,
that would be really fun,
man.
All right, we're coming at you, Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, dude. America the Gathering. I gotta trademark that.
Yeah, for real.
That would be good.
Anyway, let's get into the real Magic the Gathering stuff.
These are real Magic cards now.
Yikes.
Tons of news this week.
When 2 retards make better cards than WotC.
Yeah. I have been screenshotting a bunch. This is going to be our comprehensive Magic spoiler episode from the past week. I played the Fallout games since Fallout 3 when Bethesda took over. You haven't.
Mm-mm.
So I've been screenshotting ones that I love for flavor and gameplay. I'm sure you were mostly looking at like the gameplay the broken stuff. There's also some good reprints that we might get to, but there's some fun stuff. I think the first one I sent you was a Liberty Prime recharged. Because
it's just sick.
In terms of flavor, he saves the game. He wins you the game at the end of Fallout 3. He is the giant anti-communism robot. Liberty Prime Recharge is he's the alternate commander for the Jeskai deck. That's all about energy counters. So he's 2, a blue, red, and a white. 5 mana, 8/8. Right. He's before we had Jeskai, it used to be called America because red, white, and blue. 5 mana, 8/8 robot with
a couple keywords too, right?
Yeah, vigilance, trample, haste.
Yeah,
it's already good.
Yeah.
And whenever he attacks or blocks, you sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy counters. So he has haste, but unless you already had energy counters, you can't attack with him that turn, or you'll just die, or he'll die. His other ability is pay 2, tap him, and sacrifice an artifact, and then you get 2 energy counters and draw a card. So he's got haste and a tap ability as well, which is good. He's got card draw on him, which is good. He's also a 5 mana 8/8 with vigilance, so you can attack with him and then tap him. And in a deck that's already going to have energy counters, I mean, he does everything I want. His flavor text is one of his quotes from the game: "Democracy is non-negotiable." I don't think they could have put the other one, and that says, "Death is a preferable alternative to communism." It's one of his other quotes.
I mean, the result is the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the ending of Fallout 3 is awesome. I got to show you a clip or a video or something because you're just like, I don't know. It's awesome. The other Fallout games had some pretty good endings, but that one, like, you're just like striding alongside the foot of this giant robot, and he's just like, and you're helping out too, like shooting nukes left and right, and he's just spouting off this like democracy propaganda the whole time. Just like, this is cool. All the enemies are coming at you. Yeah, it was rad. Democracy is non-negotiable. So that's Liberty Prime. I approve.
Yeah.
As
I think it's a great card.
Yeah. As we've seen how strong having a cheap 8/8 robot commander that also draws cards.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen how strong that is on Shorakai, the one I run, who's just blue-white. So adding red into the mix, I might have to do that for Liberty Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it seems like a great card to me. I mean, I have nothing to say other than like, yeah.
In terms of flavor or whatnot, it's also solid. Man, there's a lot. There's they've got the Pit Boy on a card, obviously, which is iconic in every Fallout game. It's just like your fancy smartwatch.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious that they got like, I don't know,
a brick on your arm.
Yeah, it's just a brick on your arm, but everybody wears one.
Yeah.
Because in the Fallout universe, they never developed a microprocessor. Intel got destroyed in the war, or never came up or something. So sorry, Intel. And then so all their technology is like big and clunky. That's why you just have like a brick smartwatch. But I don't know, it fits the flavor pretty well. It's an equipment, 1 mana Pit Boy 3000. It's called 1 mana to play. Equip cost is 2, and it's just when a quick creature attacks, you choose one. I think the best one is actually the last one. It says untap up to 2 target lands. So that's like pseudo ramp, not quite, but at least pays for the equip cost right away. Mm-hmm. You can draw a card, discard a card, or you can put a 1/1 counter on the attacking creature. It's versatile. There's a pretty solid reprint. This guy was like $12 maybe, but it fits the flavor super well. He's called a Pure Steel Paladin in Magic, but in the Fallout universe, the Brotherhood of Steel is a prominent faction, and they wear the heavy metal power armor suits, mm-hmm. and one of their ranks is called Paladin.
Oh, cool.
So, like, that already fit to have a Pure Steel Paladin from Magic the Gathering now be Fallout.
I had to reprint it, right? Like,
yeah.
I had to.
So, he's pretty good. I mean, the art looks like he's a Pure Steel Paladin. I mean,
that's sick. Whenever you have time, you may draw a card. That's nice.
Yeah, so he's equipment. Whenever equipment enters,
you control,
draw a card.
Equipments you control have equip 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. What?
Yeah, and it's a 2 mana 2/2. Yeah, that's played in competitive formats.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Getting 3 artifacts is not hard, and then it's abused most of the time with this one called Colossus Hammer, which is like a 1 mana equipment, but the equip cost is 8, and its equip creature is +10/+10, and loses flying or something. Because it's just a giant hammer.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just equip a Colossus Hammer for 0, and it's like a scam combo deck because you can win on like turn 3 in Modern.
Yeah.
But just whoop. Yeah. So Pure Steel Paladin, I love that one. I guess you want to give me 3 or 4. We'll alternate a little bit.
I don't know if I have 3 or 4 for that many to go over.
Oh, okay, okay.
Honest. I took a couple screenshots here and there. Actually, I only took screenshots of 2. It looks like.
Oh, dang. Okay.
One is mechanized production, which
mechanized
is a reprint.
Production.
I just think it's a kind of a. I didn't realize it was a reprint. I thought this was like a new card, and I was like, are they crazy? Like in my mind, it just feels crazy. So it's an enchanted artifact. It's an enchantment aura. 2 and 2 blue. Mm-hmm. Enchant artifact creature you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact.
Yeah.
Which is good in and of itself. Because if you enchant your soul ring, it's like
it's just free
colorless mana at that
free
point.
soul rings every turn.
And then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well that's just 8. That's 8 turns, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that broken. Like, someone's going to remove it within 8 turns.
It's Commander, so I can only run one thing. Like, I'm never going to just play more Soul Rings from my hand. But,
yeah, except for the fact that...
It doesn't say non-token.
Yeah.
You can just...
Treasure tokens.
Just put that on a treasure token.
It doesn't even have to be on the same one.
Yeah.
You don't have to equip a treasure token. You can equip any artifact you control.
Mm-hmm. As long as you have 8 artifacts with the same name.
Yeah.
On your upkeep, you win.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Like, that card was originally printed, like, before the, I don't know, popularity of treasure in Commander. Really before Commander was huge, but, like, but a reprint, I'm sure, is going to make way more people aware of that card.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Mechanized production.
It just feels insane to me that would be a card.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Good pick for a reprint.
Yeah, no, for sure. The other one I had was Cass, Hand of Vengeance.
Yeah. She's
a red-white human ranger.
Lots of humans.
2 red and a white. She's a legendary creature. I don't know. Is she the alternate commander?
No, because she's just red-white, and all of these decks are 3-color.
Oh, gotcha.
But 3 of the decks have red-white in them, so there's a lot of red-white stuff.
Yeah. So she's a 4-mana 4/3, not great, with vigilance. Okay. But then, this is just the most insane thing to me. Whenever Cass or another creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return any number of aura cards that were attached to it from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. Then attach any number of equipment that were attached to it to that creature.
Yeah, yeah.
It just seemed like...
It's pretty good.
It just seems like if you have an equipment deck, you're running an equipment or whatever deck, and there's a board wipe, but one of your creatures has indestructible or something like that. That creature is going to be the biggest, toughest, tankiest thing on the planet.
Yeah, it gets around, like, the downside to auras is like, oh, you kill a creature, I lose the aura, but no, you don't, because now you'll just get the auras back, and then you can also cheat all of those equip costs again for the artifacts. Yep. So,
as long as the creature doesn't have Shroud.
That's true. Yeah, hopefully one of your... No, auras don't give Shroud. Hopefully you don't have
equipment does, right?
Yeah, the boots. Light.
Hexproof also gives...
Hexproof is fine. Yeah.
Hexproof is fine?
Yeah, because Hexproof, you can still target your own stuff.
Oh,
That's the problem. Shroud is nobody can target that, including you. Yeah, Cass. She's a companion from Fallout New Vegas, so it's cool to see.
Yeah, she
got a pretty decent card.
She seems pretty good to me, so I'm not hating that.
No.
All right, those are the only 2 I think that I have.
Okay, I'll do bouncing off of you, talking about a couple of the reprints. They're selling collector boosters with the Fallout Commander decks, and so I think they used it as an excuse to make money because collector boosters. Which if it just had alternate art, I'd be fine with that. But B, they're using it as an excuse to do some reprints that they didn't want to put in the Commander decks. So I think that's mostly cons, as we mentioned. I think that's kind of dumb because it's the first time they've done this. But also, like, for some of these reprints, I can see why they didn't want to put it in a Commander deck, which in theory is aimed at newer players because it's just a precon. They're reprinting now, this card shouldn't be worth $200, but it is technically worth $200, only because it was from, I think, Portal's 3 Kingdoms, which was a set that was marketed heavily in China like 20 years ago. And a lot of those cards were different names, but functional reprints of, like, other cards.
Sure.
So this is just Armageddon, but it's called Ravages of War. It is a different card, but it's 4 mana, destroy all lands.
That sucks.
Which Armageddon we have exists, and that's like a $5 card. So this one is just $200 because it's like never been reprinted, and it was just from some obscure set. But I can see why they don't want to put Destroy All Lands in a pre-constructed deck for new players.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
That would be very rude. So I don't love that it's an exclusive to the collector boosters, but
it makes sense.
But with some cool Fallout art, Ravages of War, it looks kind of fun. Another one they've done is Tarmogoyf, which is a terror of, well, used to be a terror of modern. But these days he's just a vanilla creature.
Oh.
But they gave him Fallout art. He's a Deathclaw. He's scrounging Deathclaw.
Yeah,
now.
I saw that. Yeah.
So they did some of these collector booster exclusives cards they didn't want to put in the decks that might be too strong. They gave them just Fallout names, like they've done with the Godzilla cards.
Yeah.
So it's just Tarmogoyf. He just gets power and toughness is more based on card types and graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
So it used to be annoying because he would like survive a lightning bolt. Because a lightning bolt would like deal 3 damage to him, but then if the lightning bolt went to the graveyard and it counted an instant, he'd get like 1 more toughness. And so if that brought him up to 4 toughness, he'd survive the lightning bolt. Goofy things like that. He's not any good anymore because he's just a vanilla creature. He doesn't do anything. And then bouncing off of, you shared one of the awesome companions from Fallout. The other one I mentioned the other night is a iconic companion from Fallout New Vegas. He's Craig Boone, Novak Guard.
I saw,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a sniper in game. You recruit him at this town. It's like an old motel that they call Novak now as a town, but it's because like the sign is from the no vacancy sign on the old motel, but it's just Novak is all that's left. So
it's hilarious.
And their like attraction to this, maybe this is a real place, like in Vegas or in Nevada. There's just like a giant like plastic dinosaur, and that's like the attraction to this motel or whatever. And so he guards the town as a sniper. He just sits up in the plastic dinosaur, and he's got a pretty good view all around. And so he's a Boros, 1 red and a white, 3 mana, 3/3 human soldier with reach and lifelink. And oh man, he's pretty good. He just has whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, so you can get this effect without him attacking, which is nice. You put 2 quest counters on him, and quest counters just are trackers. They don't really do anything inherently. And then when you do, he deals damage equal to the number of quest counters on it up to 1 target creature, unless that creature's controller takes that damage instead.
Oh, interesting.
So he'll choose to snipe your creature for starting at 2 damage, but then 4 damage and 6 damage. He'll either snipe a creature or you.
Interesting.
And he doesn't have to attack to do it.
It's as long as
2 or more creatures attack.
He's in red and white?
Red and white, yep. So he's 3 mana, so that's easy to just play him and get that effect that turn.
Yeah.
There's this deck has other ways to put quest counters on things, so you could even stack more quest counters on him, or move them around somehow. Like
brutal.
Proliferate is in the set, so you could proliferate quest counters.
Brutal.
You're just sniping off their creatures. I think the flavor is excellent. The only flavor fail I mentioned the other night is that he hates the Caesar's Legion, which is the evil faction in Fallout New Vegas, because they killed his wife, and he's in the Caesar's Legion deck. But I don't know. They had to work with what they had.
Yeah.
I think that deck is about attacking and quest counters, and so it fits for the gameplay. But that's Craig Boone, the sniper.
That sounds really cool, actually. That's a really cool effect.
It's a cool design, right? Like,
yeah.
I think they captured that so well of
you're a sniper.
You're a sniper. Like,
yeah.
You're just picking off the creatures or you're shooting them. Like, that's solid.
I like that.
The one we got to talk about, because from the first spoilers a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago at this point, the bobbleheads.
Yeah, the bobbleheads are cool, man.
Got to talk about the bobbleheads. I don't think they're going to be very powerful, but they're cool.
They're cool.
They ended up,
and if you're in an artifact deck, you might as well run them because they're cumulative effects.
They're all mana rocks at the bare minimum.
3 mana?
3 mana rocks, which like used to be the standard, but now there's enough 2 mana rocks where that's better.
Or 1 mana rock.
Or 1 mana. But 3 mana rock used to be like the standard for tap, add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah.
And then maybe some extra little benefit. The bobbleheads, first off, they're doing the serialized thing in the collector boosters. So there's 7 bobbleheads, 1 for each stat in game. Mm-hmm. And the collector boosters are going to have a potential. You can get 1 of 500 for each bobblehead.
Cool.
All right. They're kind of doing that in every set now because
it's kind of
sells.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that they're doing that.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
And all the bobbleheads do something somewhat related to their stat in game, which is kind of cool. The charisma bobblehead gives you more creatures. The strength bobblehead, I think, puts 1/1 counters on a creature. Stuff like that. I don't remember. An intelligence one draws you cards, I think. The luck one, the luck bobblehead, is the one everyone's talking about. I don't think so, but has at least had an interesting mechanic to it. The luck bobblehead is 3 mana, tap, add 1 mana of any color, woo. But then it's 1 mana, tap, and then roll X 6-sided dice, where X is the number of bobbleheads you control. And they all have to affect the number of bobbleheads you control. And there's only 7. But you create a tapped treasure token for each even result. So that's cool. Woo. But if you rolled 6 exactly 7 times, you win the game. If you had all 7 bobbleheads out, you roll 7 dice, and if you get all 6s, you win the game.
Or if you have 7 copies of that guy, you get to try 49 times.
So somebody did the math, because the wording is if you rolled 6 exactly 7 times. So you can make a bunch of copies of any bobblehead, but if you roll too many 6s, it doesn't work. So somebody did the math. They said the highest probability of rolling 6 exactly 7 times without going over is 41. I don't know why, but statisticians, they did the math.
1 in 41.
Yeah, so you want the luck bobblehead and 40 token copies, and then you roll 41 dice, and you have the best odds of rolling 6 exactly 7 times in 41 dice without going over. Yeah, and then you win the game after you've made 41 copies of enough thing. Which I don't know why you haven't won the game by some other way. Like you had enough mana for that, but it's
but you could. I'm sure there's like enough, like on like a couple turns, you could do. Like you could make a copy of the artifact you control.
Yeah, well, and if they're all token copies of the bobblehead, you could tap each one and do it multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll roll 41 dice. Oh, not that one. On the next one. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So it's goofy. It's hilarious. Like,
yeah. So actually, you only really need to roll 41 dice. You only really need 7 of them.
7,
because that would get you 49 rolls.
That's true. Of just the luck bobblehead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like all at once.
No, yeah, because you have to roll 6 exactly 7 times in the activation.
Yeah.
So if you only had 7 total, you'd only roll 7 at once.
Yeah. But that still is out of 49, so you're theoretically...
No. You need to roll 41 dice and get 7 6s.
Yeah, but Oh, I see.
Yeah. You'd get some smattering of 1s and 2s and 3s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
The luck bobblehead.
I like it.
If somebody wins the game by rolling 7 6s, we'll give it to them.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a fantastic little...
If they only had 7 and they just rolled 7 6s, you win the game, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The dice gods have spoken. Luck bobblehead.
Our games on Saturday or on Thursday were really fun.
Yeah, those are some solid games.
I was just thinking about.
No, that's fine. A couple other cool reprints. They did some stuff in the Fallout universe. Was kind of cool to see places, for me who's played the game, of like, the flavor. Like I mentioned, that plastic dinosaur. They redid the Scry temples. This is the Temple of Abandon. Is this old like ruined plastic dinosaur?
Nice.
What else? They had they had a lot of the lands were like cool places, and be like, I know that place in game is like on a land from some of the DLCs or whatever. They have Heroic Intervention is like probably their new favorite thing to reprint now.
Apparently.
So that's a cool one. It's got a famous character from Fallout 4, but permanents you control get Hexproof and Indestructible till end of turn. Love it.
It's just green, right?
Just 1 in a green.
1 in a green.
Path to Exile they reprinted. This was a cool throwback to Fallout 1 players, because I guess in the story of Fallout 1, you go and you leave a vault. You're always a vault person in games. You leave a vault, you save the world or whatever, and you come back, and they actually like exile you because you have too much outside experience in the real world, and the vaults are all these like closed off projects to the outside world, and so after you save the world, they exile you and you have to leave the vault. So it's the art depicts that in the path to exile. It's him, like he threw down his helmet and you see he's walking away in the reflection of the helmet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like cool reprint, cool story,
Cool art.
That's good to see. Other good reprint that I think just fit perfectly, Open the Vaults.
Yeah, I have that one in my shrine deck.
In your shrine deck, yeah. I'm like,
I saw that was reprinted.
actually in Magic the Gathering, but that the art is Open the Vaults.
Yeah.
You return all artifacts and enchantments from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh.
Yep. Good card.
Good card. So those are fun, I think. And they had a lot of the ramp ones are thrown in there. The Cultivates and the whatever. Hardened Scales. It's another good reprint.
Yeah, it is.
They could put the Death Claws, which are big scary lizard monsters. I think Hardened Scales had a big scary Tyrannid for the Tyrannid reprint. Like some of these generic names, but are like always good reprints to see. I talk about one solid new card. I should have taken a picture of the combo that goes with this. I think this guy's going to be pretty strong, even though he looks dumb. He's called the Watchful Radstag. Right, Fallout has all these irradiated animals. So this is just like, you envision it's an elk with two heads, and like each head has one half of the rack.
Oh, interesting.
So the Watchful Radstag.
Interesting. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool looking.
Mono green.
Yeah, 3 mana, 2/2. The Elk Mutant. It's in the Mutant deck. He's got Evolve, which is important. So whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power toughness than this creature, you put a 1/1 counter on this creature. So he's a 2/2, and if you get a 3/3 out, you put a 1/1 counter on this guy. But then whenever the Watchful Radstag evolves, you create a token that's a copy of it. So then you make another 2/2. And I really should have taken the picture because I already forgot because there was so much that happened this week. That guy combos pretty hard with whenever you put a 1/1 counter on a thing, make a token copy of a thing.
Yeah.
So you can end up getting in an infinite loop unless you have another way to end the loop. You might draw out the game. It's pretty neat because it's not a May. You have to keep making these 2/2 copies.
Yeah.
So.
And just time out like.
Yeah, you would draw out the game unless you had some way to either like do something with the tokens, like sacrifice them right away, or whenever a creature enters the battlefield, deal 1 damage to each opponent.
It'd be interesting to put him in with a Goblin Bombardment in there.
Yes, yeah, because then you'd have a way to stop the infinite loop.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't stop the infinite loop necessarily, but you could interrupt the internet.
Yes, yeah.
Where you'd
win the game.
You could react to the 1 millionth trigger of it by sacrificing 900,000 of them
to kill everyone.
But then the infinite loop is still technically going, right?
No, but
because you've won. But because you've won the game is ended.
Yeah, as a state-based action, if all the opponents are at 0 life, you win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But theoretically, if someone like reacts to your Goblin Bombardment, it doesn't matter because the trigger is going to keep going then.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you can react, but unless you're stopping the loop, it doesn't matter.
Well, and it doesn't even matter if you kill the original one.
No, yeah, because then you have an exact duplicate. You have a token copy.
Yeah, interesting.
It's deceptive.
Now, what happens? Like someone would have the board wipe, but does a board wipe even work? Like an instant board wipe?
Depending on the timing of it, it could. It could. But probably not. You would probably need to counterspell either the original cast of the Watchful Radstag or whatever else you're playing to start the loop.
Yeah.
Would be the best way to do it. Yeah.
But after that, you're screwed.
Yeah. Because after that, it's not a May. It's not even like you're technically putting the stuff on the stack, but it's just like the in-game engine behind the scenes is just generating this infinite stack.
It has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
This guy evolves. You put a 1/1 counter on him, and then because you put a 1/1 counter on him, you make another guy. But then that guy evolves the new token you made, so then you make another token. Yeah.
Interesting.
Magic the Gathering, man, is just so cool sometimes to see how it works. It's like its own language.
Yeah. Very cool.
So I thought that was a powerful one. Had to talk about that. One of the cool things we could talk about is some of these flavorful cards I like. All of the vaults, I think I mentioned to you previously, are like science experiments in the Fallout universe. They were all designed to be like these little projects in case of a nuclear war. And so they depicted all those as sagas in Magic the Gathering, which is really cool. Sagas are pretty flavorful. I've always been okay with sagas, but this set I'm really like, all right, I think I like sagas. They do a good job in like showing the passage of time.
Sure.
It's an enchantment that does a thing, and then each turn it does something different until it goes away. And some of them are cool. Some of them are nostalgic for the vault experiments in game. I think there's one I've even mentioned before. It's Vault 11 is the Voter's Dilemma. And it's the vault where they have to, each year they vote for their overseer, their leader. And then the first leader ended up like they were told they had to sacrifice a person each year.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the vault, like they were voting for the worst possible person for their leader. And then he was the leader for a year and did terrible. And then they killed him. And they're like, yeah, we hated that guy. I'm so glad he became our leader. By the end of the vault, they find out the secret that they were supposed to not vote. That was the dilemma. They were supposed to just rise up and say no. That was their kind of twisted psychological experiment. So the flavor on the card is cool. It's a 2, a white, and a black for a saga. So when it comes out, the first chapter is for each opponent, you create a 1/1 human soldier creature token. And then for 2 and 3, the next 2 chapters, each player secretly votes for up to 1 creature. And then those votes are revealed. If no creature got votes, each player draws a card. Otherwise, destroy each creature with the most votes or tied for the most votes.
Oh, so you either have to not choose a creature.
Yeah, either nobody chooses a creature and we all get to draw a card, or if we all secretly voted for a creature, they all die. Yeah.
Oh, how fascinating.
Isn't that?
I love that.
I love that. Since I gave the story background, and then in Magic, that works so well. You do that twice, too. You do 2 votes. So you have to...
So maybe you have to, like, politic your way, like, okay, everyone, we want to draw cards.
We want to draw cards. Let's rise up. And then one guy's like, yeah, but I hate that creature, so I'm voting for him. And then that creature dies, and nobody gets to draw a card. Or
interesting.
If everybody said that they were going to not vote, and then you all voted for 4 different creatures, all those creatures die. So
how many mana is this card?
Just 4 mana. It has the potential to destroy 8 creatures. Maybe some of your own. But
yeah. Maybe a lot of your own.
Yeah, or just maybe you draw some cards.
Draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So the Voter's Dilemma, I thought was
that's great. No, that's fantastic. And if someone just is running away with the game, they're going to get a couple votes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right.
That's funny.
It's each creature with the most votes. So if one creature got 2 votes,
it's just one creature.
It's just the one creature that dies. Yeah. For the good of everyone.
Yeah.
We voted for the worst creature.
Not good in a 2-player game.
No. Definitely not.
Probably only good in a 4-player game.
Yeah. I can talk about that's been definitely some of my favorite stuff I think I've gone over.
What was that one called again?
Vault 11.
Vault 11.
Voter's Dilemma. So all of the sagas are like vault whatever and then semicolon.
Yeah.
Voter's Dilemma. There's another one that was super creepy. It's Vault 112, Sadistic Simulation. This one was wild. These people were just they were put in like suspended animation and they just lived out a simulation of like a perfect little town, perfect little village. But then whenever they like got close to figuring out that they were in a simulation, the whole thing just reset. So it was wild. You had to go in and like investigate the simulation and like take it down from the inside. Even though everyone was like already dead, they were just like living in these little like zombie pods that were just keeping their bodies alive. It was kind of messed up to see in game. There was one person in the simulation was everyone thought she was just a crazy old grandma. It's kind of like in the Matrix or whatever. She could like see that it wasn't real, but they're like, that's just grandma. We don't believe her. But the in game it works pretty well. This one's 2, a red and a blue. And the first 2 chapters are you tap up to one target creature and put a stun counter on it, so you keep them asleep or whatever, and then you get 2 energy counters. And then the final one is you pay any amount of energy, and if you paid 1 or more this way, you shuffle your library, then exile that many cards from the top, and you can play one of those cards without paying its mana cost.
Oh, interesting.
So you get at least 4 energy from this. You can flip the top 4, and you just get a free spell.
Pretty okay.
That seems fine. And meanwhile, you're also tapping down creatures.
Pretty okay.
Yeah. So it's neat. You get some payoff for putting everybody to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me see if I had to do one more Fallout card, and then we can do some of the other spoilers. All right, we'll finish off Fallout. I think I'll do one more card if I had to, because obviously we're a comedy show.
Sure.
And we've spoken several times before about some lovely, fun new creature types in Magic the Gathering.
There was a new creature. I saw a couple.
We didn't think Fallout would give us new creature types. We thought like, there's mutants and animals and humans. It should all be fine.
I saw one. What was it? Crap.
There's even aliens. I think we already had. And there are alien creature tokens. I don't know if there's any alien creatures, but could be wrong on that one. New creature type is another new animal that I didn't know wasn't in Magic.
Didn't know we needed.
It is a sloth.
That's hilarious.
Sloth is a new creature type in Magic.
Capybara and sloth.
I didn't know we'd get it from the Fallout set, but
yeah, that's strange.
It's from Fallout 76, which was in like the Appalachians. So it was like a lot of weird animals in that game. But this is the lumbering mega sloth.
Oh.
And he is quite large.
He is quite large. Wow.
So he's a classic green fashion. He's a 12 mana 8/8. But he costs 1 less to cast for each counter among players and permanents.
Oh.
So
well, that's easy.
The mutant deck is all about rad counters,
which
we mentioned, is you put them on players and then they have to mill and lose some life.
Yeah.
So you can easily get him down to a 2 mana 8/8, which you should, because he enters the battlefield tapped. He's a sloth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's just
not even haste, but anti-haste.
Anti-haste. And then he's
can't even block.
An 8/8 with trample. That's all he does, but it's hilarious.
Fair enough.
He's a giant sloth.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They have like one other card in a previous set that like was just a beast, and everyone's like, are they gonna make this guy a sloth now? He's just like, he looks like a sloth.
Sure.
That's the only art
on him.
Yeah, that's the only art that would like maybe kind of look like a sloth. But I'm really intrigued by the new design space that this brings to Magic the Gathering.
Of sloths.
Of sloths. Sloth tribal 10 years down the line, man. It all started here.
That would be hilarious if there was a sloth tribe.
They all enter the battlefield tapped. They're all slow.
There's cards that say whenever a creature enters the battlefield tapped, though, isn't there?
They have an old turtle card where it's like when he's untapped, every other permanent comes in untapped, but then while he's tapped, everything comes in tapped.
Yeah.
So he like makes everyone else slow.
Throw him in there, and then they come in untapped.
Yeah,
haste, but
no haste.
At least they can block.
Yeah, at least they're normal creatures.
Yeah, that's funny.
So the sloths. That's probably all for Fallout. We can move on to briefly some of the other stuff.
Yeah, just pick what else we got?
Just pick.
There's 3 more sets coming that we know of?
Yes, so the next standard set is Gay Cowboys. No, sorry, it's Outlaws at Thunder Junction. It's their Wild West set. That's the next standard set.
Horsemanship coming back?
It's not confirmed.
I mean, we thought about it might come back for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and it didn't.
With Riders of Rohan.
So probably not in a standard set if that was a modern set, but
yeah. Too bad.
And then I think summertime is Modern Horizons 3, which is already looking like that's going to shake up the whole meta, so that'll be fun. Every year Modern just gets a rotation when it's not supposed to have rotations. And then the set after that is the next standard set is Bloomborough,
which is a new plane.
It's a new plane that's all animals. There's no humans on the plane. They showed some art from that, which all right, there's some cool looking animals. I think they had a giant badger bust into a wall or something. But then they showed like Jace, who's a planeswalker, and we thought he died from the last big battle.
Oh.
They showed him on this plane and he just like got turned into an otter. So we're like, wait, you went to an animal only set, presumably to introduce new characters, but now you have our human characters who just planeswalk there and then turned into animals. I don't know what they're doing with the story.
Whatever.
The top comment was hilarious. It's like, oh, I guess you could say he got Phyrexianized.
Oh man,
Because that's what happened to Jace from the
hilarious.
Phyrexians.
He got completed or whatever.
Yeah, he got completed, so we thought he was like basically dead because the Phyrexians took him and made him evil. We thought there was no like, I think he died and on a card or something, but because he was evil, he was fighting the good guys. But no, yeah, now he's an otter, so now he's truly been Phyrexianized.
That's hilarious.
With the furries.
That's very funny.
And then the last Universes Beyond set, Assassin's Creed. Those are the next 4 sets coming this year. They spoil a little bit from everything.
What? So why do you say it's a gay cowboys for Thunder?
Well,
Thunder Bluff,
Thunder Junction.
Thunder Junction.
I took a pretty bad screenshot. One of their main characters is refuses to wear a shirt.
Oh yeah.
So
Oko, the ringleader.
Yeah,
he does look.
And on all the alternate arts, you can even swipe to the left a little bit. It's a big picture. He's not wearing a shirt on any of them. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Wanted poster's kind of sick though.
Yeah, that's their new showcase frame. It's a Wanted poster. The other like mini set coming with this one though, the bonus sheet that they're throwing in is just like a bunch of old mythics.
Oh, cool.
So probably be some pretty expensive reprints that might not actually bring the price down, but they were going to sell it as a standalone set, but then they heard how bad the last one did, March of the Machines Aftermath.
Yeah.
Where they made a 50 card set with 5 card booster packs. So they scrapped that idea and they just put those cards in Thunder Junction as bonus cards in the boosters. So that might be a neat little surprise.
Have we done Thunder Junction stuff before?
No, I don't think so. I think these were the first spoilers from the set. Actually,
a new plane as well. Then
it is a new plane because in the story, all of the planes are like open now. Anybody can just walk between planes. So planeswalkers are less important in the story, but supposedly they were all supposed to lose their spark, but not, because we saw Jace is an otter, and this guy is on here, and he's originally from Eldraine. So
he's a cowboy now.
He's a cowboy now, but there's no guns. That's another big thing about this set. No guns, because reasons. So all right, you just have magic weapons, magic bullets. It's a standard set. So compared to all the cool cards we talked about, nothing there is really too exciting, other than. They're going to have some cool art. They're going to have the extra bonus cards. A couple of the legendary creatures they spoiled are like, whatever. That guy's just another planeswalker.
This is a standard set?
Yeah, it's a standard set. It's kind of interesting. He's a 4-mana planeswalker, 3 loyalty. He's blue and green. He comes out and his +1 is draw 2 cards. And then if you've committed a crime this turn, discard a card. Otherwise, discard 2 cards.
Are they doing a new thing?
Villainous choice. Yeah, so that's probably the highlight to talk about. If you've committed a crime, it's not a new mechanic. It's just a phrase they shortened for if you did anything that targeted your opponent's stuff, you've committed a crime. Which I just think opens up a whole host of rules confusion.
For sure.
So I guess because I think target is in the description. You have to target something of your opponents, but I think that's going to be a mess. What I was getting at though is 3 loyalty. You can +1 to draw 2 cards, which is strong, and then
his really good.
His ultimate is -5, so it's really not that hard to get to, and it's for each other non-land permanent you control. You just create a token that's a copy of that permanent. Like no stipulations.
Dude, I'm gonna throw that guy in my freaking shrine deck.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty good.
Card draw a card, draw 4 cards, basically
Sacrifice him
to make a copy of all of my freaking shrines.
And for those 2 turns, his passive effect is at the beginning of combat on your turn, he becomes a copy of another creature you control, except he has hexproof. So then you can also attack as well. Yeah, while also doing planeswalker abilities. Seems a little busted.
Pretty okay.
Yeah. I don't know how good he'll be in Commander, but just because planeswalkers are always kind of hard to evaluate in Commander, but seems pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's that set. We could do the Modern Horizons 3, which we're not really big Modern players. But power creep on that set just looks insane. They've printed a new sword, the sword cycle.
Yep.
This one's Sword of Wealth and Power. So they're always 3 mana to cast, 2 mana to equip. Equip creature gets +2/+2.
Okay.
And has protection from instants and sorceries.
What?
Yeah. All the previous swords, we've done colors. We did every 2-color pair. Which is pretty strong in Magic the Gathering, but doesn't make you immune. Protections from instants and sorceries kind of makes you immune.
What?
Damage, enchant, block, target.
Yeah.
So no target removal, no damaging board wipes, like a Blasphemous Act.
Yeah.
And then they always have a combat damage trigger. So when a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token.
Okay.
It's good. And then whenever you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell.
What?
That's like really easy to do for that effect. Usually copying spells is, you got to jump through a few more hoops. Because that's a strong thing to do.
What the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
So that's a modern set. Mm-hmm.
So that's going to go in like every single commander set, though.
Yeah. Well,
a commander deck, rather.
Not to fear, Steven. They are doing commander precons with the modern set now.
Because of course,
irritated a lot of modern players. I didn't even take pictures of it. I knew we could do a whole episode on that. There's 4 commander decks for the Thunder Junction, the Gay Cowboys. There's 4 commander decks for the Modern Horizon set. There's 4 commander decks for Bloomborough.
Jeez Louise.
I don't think they spoiled any commander decks for Assassin's Creed, but they did spoil a 5-color assassin commander.
5-color assassin commander.
Which is Ezio, right? He's the most famous assassin from Assassin's Creed 2 and 3, I think. Maybe some of the other spin-offs. But Ezio. Yeah, I think that was all on Modern Horizons. Yeah, we'll do Assassin's Creed. Ezio Auditore de Firenze. I don't know. He's 1 and a black for a 3/2 human assassin with menace. It's already good. And I need
so he's 2 mana for a 3/2 with menace.
Mm-hmm. He's a mythic legendary, but wow. And then assassin spells you cast have free running 2 black. And free running is a new thing, obviously. But it's kind of like Prowl, which was an old ability, where you can cast a spell for its cost, the free running cost now, so 2 black, if you dealt combat damage to a player with an assassin or commander. So Prowl used to be rogues, I think. But now it's, if you deal combat damage, and he's at 3/2 with menace, so you might get through. You can cast
turn 2? Or turn... Yeah.
You can cast any assassin for just 2 black mana. Pretty good. But I said he was 5-color. His last ability. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you can pay Wooburg, 1 of each color. If that player has 10 or less life, that player loses the game. So you gotta get them.
If you deal damage with an assassin.
When he has to deal damage, you pay 5 mana if they have 10 or less life, and then they lose. Seems like they just threw it on so they can have, hey, look, he's a 5-color assassin commander. It's Assassin's Creed. Play all the assassins.
I mean, that was going to be a cool deck.
It'll be cool.
But that seems a little bit... I guess he's an assassin, so it makes, flavor-wise, makes sense.
It makes sense. But he gets all your assassins out for 2 mana, which is pretty cheap.
And there's some pretty good assassins.
They've never been too expensive, but at least...
they're not bad.
Yeah. The other fun card they spoiled, the haystack mechanic in game, right? You're jumping off towers and buildings into the haystack, or you're hiding in them.
Yeah.
They have a new artifact, 1 and a white. It's a 2-mana artifact, the haystack, and it's a 2-mana tap. Target creature you control phases out.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty strong too, honestly.
Yeah.
Just having phase out, which means nothing can interact with it. That creature is invisible. He's hidden.
Until your next turn, right?
Yeah, until the start of your next turn. So then it's...
Until your untap step, right?
Yes. Yeah, so he'll come in...
It's prior to your untap, it phases in.
Yes.
Then untap, upkeep.
They will get to untap, upkeep, yep. So obviously the flavor text is like the guards. They're, search the area, he can't have gone far. The art is like the guards looking around the haystack. That's flavorful.
That's a good card.
And I think that's a good card. And then, we mentioned Leonardo da Vinci, who I don't think is that strong, but he's a card now. Woo. Cleopatra, I didn't think it was that strong either, but they exist. Da Vinci, he does stuff with artifacts, right? He builds things. Woo. Yeah. Thopters. And then Bloomborough is all animals. There's nothing big to talk about there. But
no big green stompies for green?
Not yet. Again, it's another standard.
Throw like elephants in there.
It's another standard set, so really it's just like they were spoiling some art. There was like one card that was kind of whenever he's a 6-mana 4/4 in green and white. But whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it attacks, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. It's green and white, so it doesn't work in a couple of your decks, unfortunately, but it's just like a big rabbit soldier.
Doesn't work in any of my decks, except for my
your 5-color deck, yeah. So, but some of the art from that set looks kind of cool. Like that looks straight out of Redwall.
Yeah, it does. It looks sick.
Like that might look nice. I'm a little bit worried about what the story is doing, but
game mice
wouldn't surprise me. At least the art looks cool.
3 blind mice.
3 blind mice.
That'd be fun. That should probably be in
the Eldraine, the fairy tale set. I'll have to tell you, maybe
3 blind mice would be a great instant.
Yeah.
Where it's like
target creature can't block this turn because he can't see the creatures coming. Yeah. I think that's it. We covered all the Magic spoilers.
Nice.
All of them.
Every single one.
At least all our favorites.
All the good ones.
Because there's a lot. If you weren't a Magic fan, if you are a Magic fan and didn't know about anything this week, you literally, after watching our podcast, you should go look things up. There's tons this week.
Way more. I've tried looking it up. Just way more than I can even look at.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The most relevant ones is Fallout, because that one comes out in
3 weeks?
2 weeks. By the time you watch this episode, it'll be 1 week, probably.
Right.
Yeah. So.
There it is.
There it is. Never-ending spoiler season, Steven.
I feel like every 3rd episode, we have to do like a Magic the Gathering episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We're just...
Crazy. Crazy. Alrighty. There it is.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.